Welcome back to Voice of the Republic. I am one of your hosts, and my name is Carl.
I'm the other one of the hosts. My name is Ed.
We are back, and we are talking Star Wars Rebels. I know usually fourth segment we have Republicoms, but we haven't been doing shows, and we didn't tell anyone we were doing this. I did it because, frankly, I was afraid something was going to fall through and we weren't going to be able to do it. So I didn't want to get anyone's hopes up and be like, hey, yeah, we're recording tomorrow. And then next thing you know, fucking electricity goes out on the East Coast, so
God knows we've had just about everything happen to us while trying to record shows. So
yeah, honestly, it's like to this day though, I'm not surprised anymore because we did the live telethon for you, and that was just kind of the be all end all, and I was just like, you know what, nothing's going to be this. I don't want to say hard, but it's nothing's going to be this involved or this many plates up in the air on a stick at one time,
Yeah. If we could pull that off, we'll do this show. It's no big deal.
It's I can deal with the tech issues that might come up with an hour show that we break up into smaller parts.
It definitely made me a lot more patient for these kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, what's not working this time? We'll fix it. It'll get there.
Yeah, it'll work out eventually.
Yeah. So you were asking me what, if anything, would I possibly have a problem with this show?
Yeah.
And let me tell you first, I'm extremely happy to say it's minimal. As we were saying over the break, which was as opposed to Clone Wars, where, oh God, how much time do you have?
Yeah, because Clone Wars was fundamentally broken. And people will argue that point with us, but I mean, I think if you break it down just from a mechanical standpoint and storytelling standpoint, Clone Wars is broken. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
And but it's
not
nice.
About effect, not about hating on Star Wars, not about the effort, but right, because we'll harp on it, and it'll be the worst thing if anyone ever goes through these episodes and puts clips of me saying this over and over again, which is story and character. You got to get that right, or it's just not. It just doesn't matter.
And this coming from an artist, it's it's if the artist is saying fucking story, we need to get that on. It's when it's usually the artist being fuck story, I just draw cool shit. It's no.
Avatar, still haven't seen it. I started watching it, but you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care that it's an amazing feat of blah, blah, blah. I don't care about how much it cost. Jurassic World, I was really excited for. Not trying to turn into another podcast, but you know what? The story and the characters weren't there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, write me letters, bring it, because you're wrong. So was it a fun ride? It would have been. It would have been better if it was just a little smarter.
Yeah.
So overall, this one, doing great. My problems, like you said, can't help it. I am an artist. My issues go back to design. And while they're already, dare I say, light years ahead of the prequels, yes, hyperspace, because hyperspace above the prequels is dumb. But this was always a concern of mine with the Clone Wars. Clone Wars was a major offender. This one isn't doing too badly, but it's about being too derivative and derivative unto itself. Not just this homage thing that the Clone Wars did because they were trying to write their way out of problems, or, oh, we got to make the show interesting somehow. You guys like Alfred Hitchcock? He's the best, right? Kurosawa is a classic. This is good, right? Everybody likes this. Let's do that. No, this isn't happening here. Everything's going, and it feels, I don't want to say original, but it feels like they're really creating their own world, which is awesome. But my issues have to do a lot with design. In creating the Star Wars that we know, it takes a lot of development. It takes a lot of ideas that are spitballed and discarded. A lot of really cool things happen, but all of them just lead up to the perfect thing. And those are the things that we come to know and love. So, I've grown up looking at all the sketchbooks and all of the art, all the concept art that led up to the movies. And it's amazing to see these things. And some of them really do look like they were things that were part of the evolution of this thing. you know. Other things were just like, that's clearly not Star Wars. It has no place here. I understand why it's not used. So this starts to skirt into that kind of area where we need a thing that's like this other thing. So let's just go to Joe Johnston's old sketchbooks and just pull it. Clone Wars, again, horribly shameless in going back to that well of just like, take this character, scan it, use it, scan it, use it. And to me, it's just embarrassingly shitty. It's lazy.
Yeah.
Because one of the other cool things about Star Wars was a lot of it is based on other things, but by and far it was original. You know, the X-Wing was original. The TIE was original. Nobody thought of making spaceships that look like that. You know, the TIE fighter design is insane when you think about what spaceships are supposed to look like. But here we are. So there are a lot of really cool original things that happen in terms of design and ships and tech. Okay, so like you mentioned the AT-ATs, and I'm embarrassed that maybe I'm a show behind because I thought I saw them all. I watched everything that was available, but do AT-ATs, four-legged AT-ATs as we know them, do they actually show up?
Oh yeah, it was the end of the episode where the clones come back and they're chased into the dust storm with the because they're all in the ATTE.
I only saw that on their planet, and they do that thing where they go fishing with Zeb. But
oh, you must have missed an episode then.
No, I mean that's good because that means there's more to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the funny thing is we were talking over the break, and I was like, man, I hope you have bad things to say about this show because I don't have much. Honestly, I think I've said most of my bad stuff about it leading up to this.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like the AT-ATs, they actually go up, and that was the nice thing is like it's a surprise. You know, it's like everyone's like, what is that? You know, it's like
right.
You know, it's like to the Star Wars fans, we all know it's an AT-AT. You know, it's like surprise. But you know, like for these characters, like to be like, we haven't seen anything like this before. You know, and like I said, the clone troopers are all sitting there just kind of like, huh, that's a hell of a thing. And then they actually analyze it. You know, it's like they're giving a military analyst.
No, that's great. But also, like, you know, they used a design that led up to the ATST. And that's the walker that we've seen throughout the series so far, which again, I think it's great because it looks like an older version of the walker both walkers that we now know. Yeah. So to me, like, okay, the ATTE that they had leading into the AT-AT makes sense. This thing's a little taller, a little more practical, also makes sense. So it's cool that there's a little bit of a slow reveal. Because again, like we mentioned in the previous episode, it would suck if they just give you all your Star Wars right now. But you know what? We still have like 15 more years or 10 more years before A New Hope still happens. And again, in a totalitarian government, right, there's not going to be a whole lot of innovation. If shit's working and you're suppressing the public, you really don't need to try harder to do that. Yeah. Tech's going to slow, so that's fine. But that's like a lot of the Inquisitor stuff and a lot of I'm trying to think of what else. I don't know. Every now and then there's just like little bits of there's like robots. Like assassin droids show up. Yeah. Those are ripped from the pages. Victor Wong, also known as David Lopan, also known as the eye maker from Blade Runner. I just make eyes. He shows up as a gangster character, which I'm so excited that he's there. Yeah. Because I love him as an actor. But he is a early discarded Jabba the Hutt design that they just grabbed, scanned, and made into a 3D character. So that said, unlike the Clone Wars, they are not doing that too much, you know.
And when they are doing it, it seems like it fits better. You know, it's like it doesn't feel like it's shoved in like the Clone Wars, because that was the big problem with the Clone Wars. It's like everything. It felt like they're trying to put square pegs in the round holes. Like, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Most of the time for me though, it didn't work. And vice versa though with Rebels is it feels like most of the time it works. Like sometimes there are things that'll take you out of it and you're like, oh. And you know, you mentioned the Inquisitors, and that's another one of those things where it's like we were talking about it on the VOR Facebook page a little bit, where it's like the rule of two. It almost kind of ruins it because inherently I don't have a problem with those Inquisitors showing up because they're low level. They're mid-level bosses. It's like this isn't Vader. It's like these are just like Vader can't be everywhere. It's like, so we got these guys that are force sensitive. We train them enough to like be dangerous to Jedi and Rebels, but not enough to be dangerous to us. Makes sense. It's like,
plus you know that there's force users still out there. Just because you killed all the Jedi, it doesn't mean that everybody who's force sensitive is dead.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to be like you're saying, get these guys on your side, develop their powers to where they're doable, they're usable, but not a threat. I think that's, and plus in terms of entertainment, we came here to see Jedi and Sith as well as rebels and robots.
Exactly, and it's the whole Buffy effect, because one of the smart things
I'll
always go back to this because it's the best example, and it's one of the first times I ever heard someone talk about it specifically. And Joss Whedon was talking about it, and he's like, if you notice, like the Master, which is the bad guy from the first season of Buffy, they never have a face-to-face until the end of the season. He's literally locked underground in this like magical force field bubble. He can't get out, and the whole season is just him trying to get out so he can fight Buffy, and Joss Whedon says, like, the reason I did that is because you can't have a villain getting beaten every week. It's like, if you have a villain getting beat every week, after week 3 or 4, then you have Skeletor. You have this guy that's not a threat any longer. It's like he's just getting beat up all the time. And, and Star Wars Rebels is doing this nice little thing where they're replacing enemies. Like, enemies are dying, it's like they're either dying or they're getting like reassigned and stuff like that. So it's not the same guys getting beat up every week. It's like, it's like, oh, so this person failed, let's try this person. Like, Vader comes in, wrecks shit, leaves, and then he's like, okay, let's send in the Inquisitors then, and it doesn't feel like they're ruining their villains. It's like they're keeping their villains to the chest, and having multiple Inquisitors, it helps with that. And I'm really hoping that some of these 2 new Inquisitors that showed up like 2 episodes ago stick around, because one of them's Sarah Michelle Gellar, ironically enough, of Buffy
that's who
fame.
it was. She's not familiar.
Yeah, in real life, wife of Kanan, voice actor. I'm forgetting names like a motherfucker.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, that's it. Freddie Prinze Jr. So, like, she shows up, and she's an interesting character, because then you have that whole Sith thing going on again, where she's like, but she's Sith enough that she's like, hey, why don't you join me? And she's doing the whole manipulating thing and everything with Ezra. And it's really a nice little touch. But again, I kind of just feel like this whole thing's being ruined by this throwaway line of the rule of 2. It's like, I honestly think that like they should just deal with the fucking rule of 2 and just be like, no, fuck it, it's done. We don't need the rule of 2 anymore.
But on the other hand, the Inquisitors aren't really true Sith. They never say that, but they're never coming out. They're not like, I'm Darth Inquisitor. He's just the Inquisitor, a Inquisitor.
But it seems like a technicality, though. I'm sorry. That's just.
I understand. I know where you're getting. I know.
Just fucking pull the trigger. Like, shit or get off the pot. Like, no tip. Put it all fucking in, or just pull out. Just like tip. Tip is a lie, ladies. The tip is a lie.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all or nothing.
Yes, but you know what? There's nothing wrong with 100 hand jobs.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, I'm like, sorry, wow,
I got a strange look from the doorway here. Go to bed.
Yeah, that would be Carl's mom. I expect a strange look.
So,
yeah, but no, I agree with you, and yet it makes sense. Again, like we're saying, like to send out these force-sensitive, badass bulldogs, knowing that when you're Vader and the Emperor, and you destroyed all the other Force users in the galaxy at one time. Mm-hmm. Who's really going to come at you? Who's really a threat? But what's also cool is, and they did this in the Clone Wars comic series too, where there are other Sith running around, and they're also like really competitive. Mm-hmm. Nobody's really working together. Those 2 show up; they're independent agents.
Yeah, and they're competing with each other even.
I love that. There's a great exchange of one-upmanship and bragging. Yeah, it was really, really nice.
In an apparent hierarchy, because like
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of pulls rank on the other guy, like dude
Mhm.
McBuff chest that shows up. Like she kind of
Yeah. He's like
so
from some Japanese video game. I don't. His design is not from the Star Wars books, I believe, but I've
no.
seen that character before. But that's okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And but yeah, I just kind of like it's always been a problem with me, and like ever since Ventress, like and here's the
Mhm.
other thing is like you're talking like the Sith is a chartered organization. Uh, it's like there can only be two. It's like, wait, no. It's like there's probably some guy that's like, and it's probably the real Dark Lord who's not getting all the fucking airtime that Palpatine is, because Palpatine is like the worst Sith of all time. Like once his secret's out, he's just like, I'm a Sith everywhere.
Well, there could be other twos. It's a big galaxy.
Exactly. It's like, and it's like, so like the rule of two is just like, and I'm talking in generalities here because we know how Star Wars fans are. They love like that's impossible. You can never do that. There can never be another Sith because there's already Vader and Palpatine in the universe. So if we have another, no, it's like I just like I kind of wish they'd get rid of that rule just so they can just be like, in any group there's two. There's a master and an apprentice. It's like for some reason people have it hardwired in their head that like there can only be two dark side users. It's like
in
no.
existence.
Yeah, it's like, and that's stupid because it's not like you have to get a license. It's like there's not some bureaucracy that controls this. It's not like the Jedi where the Jedi have ranks and they have assigned, it's an organization that has a fucking office,
Right.
but the Sith
But
don't.
just like the Jedi, if one Jedi escapes, that just means that somewhere else there can easily be another Sith. Not that they were necessarily trained by anyone, but if you got holocrons running around, the Jedi and the Sith have the same origin.
Mm-hmm.
And this is getting into some EU, and I know I shit on EU. On the other hand, this supports this argument that they have the same origin of learning to use the Force, and then they had two philosophies, and they used to exist at the same time, thousands of these users, and they just about killed each other. And then that's when the Sith are like, all right, this is only going to work if there's like two of us. So they went and killed the rest of these guys. But it doesn't mean they got everybody.
Yeah.
And this information's out there, and they can, again, it's a big fucking galaxy. And if you want to lay low, you just lay low, and you do your little Sith action with your apprentice over here at the far end of the galaxy, away from all this, Coruscant bullshit where it's going to be really popular. Mm-hmm. And we get into our Vaders and our Palpatines. You could have other guys. And wouldn't it be amazing if this show continues and go ahead, steal our idea. That's fine. But if you have two other Siths show up, they're like, hey, we like what you've done with the place. We want it. And they're like equally powerful or almost as powerful Sith, not just low-level lackeys. See, that's compelling. I'm in.
Yeah, because could you imagine if it ended up being like a three-way showdown? Like you had like Ezra and Kanan, and then like two Inquisitors, and then these two like just rogue Siths that just show up, and like they have to fight each other, and it's like,
right.
It would be fun, and like it's like,
but like if they're gunning for Palpatine and Vader, that's what I'm talking.
Yeah,
about.
It's like,
and it's a serious threat.
Yeah, so you see them like knocking on fucking Ezra's door, be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you come in? It's like you seem like you're a pretty quick study. We could use someone like you. Like,
or even like the enemy of our enemy is our friends, and they can come in. They can have their own sweet talking Palpatine guy.
Yeah,
like we'd love to fix up your ship, but like, look, we know that these guys are a threat. We know what they did to the Jedi. This can't stand. And just sweet talk them into trying to take out Vader and Palpatine. At the last minute, they're like, "Oh shit, Ezra, those guys are Sith. We either need to leave or kill them."
And they totally get suckered in by like the sweet talking and everything.
That would be great.
It'd be a great storyline. But but like I said, like the way that the rule of two is right now in the universe and how it's usually accepted by fans, it breaks that. And I really wish that like Star Wars would come out and kind of like, they don't have to like officially like mandate it, but like just like throw in a story point that says like, hey, by the way, it's not as rigid as you guys think. And then like that would open up all that sort of stuff. And it would make more sense because, like I said, it just doesn't make sense for there to be a hard cap on the number of Sith that can be in a universe at any given time. And then you get wrapped up in the semantics of like, what's a Sith? What isn't? Oh, this is an Inquisitor. No, it's like a dark Jedi, whatever, it's like, just, it's silly. So
there's room.
Yeah. There's room for all that.
Yeah. The last thing that I'd like to bring up that is really positive, and it doesn't have to be a big, long discussion. It's just that, it's been controversial for years about whether or not the stormtroopers are clones or not. And this show is not coming out and saying it, but they're definitely setting up that at this point in history, they're not. If they are clones, they're also mingled with conscriptions and people who join the Empire. Because like we said before, for many people, just like Luke and his friends, this is the only way to get off your planet. This is the only way to advance is you join the military. And this is what happens in a military dictatorship. You can keep on whatever you're doing, bakery, farming mushrooms, or moisture, even stupider. Or you could probably do pretty well for yourself if you serve. So seeing Ezra in that academy, and it wasn't like a special officers thing. These were teenagers who were trained to be just stormtroopers, and they were just kids. I'm like, okay, I think that's a really cool step. I'm just props.
And I think that really comes down to just, again, Rebels is doing story development better than Clone Wars ever did, and they're doing it better than the prequels, and it's like they're doing it better than most of the EU. It's like, and like I said, like during the break, it was really hard for me like to come up with anything really negative to say, and anything that I came up negative for Rebels was pretty nitpicky, which is good. It's nice. I like being able to wholeheartedly like something Star Wars again, and really, like, I think this was a good move for Disney. Also, kind of getting off topic to something bigger and more meta. I think it was a really good move for Disney because. Me as a Star Wars fan, my nerves are calmed a little bit going into The Force Awakens now. It's like, because I'm like, what? Disney didn't fuck up Rebels. They're doing better than Lucas did towards the end. So it's like, I have no reason to sweat this,
Yeah, if they're doing this well with Rebels, with handling the property in this way, being gentle with characters in the universe, then, and this is something that's geared towards a younger age group, then a release for general audiences with not just, J.J. Abrams at the helm, but being that sensitive and proving that, all right, we've already handled this lesser property and this is going really well. In my opinion, it's going really well. I hope it's as popular as with everyone else as it is with us, and hopefully more popular than Clone Wars. Absolutely. Just absolutely gives me more hope for Force Awakens, and tick. That's coming up soon. It's almost a month away.
I'm so excited. I got my tickets.
Me too.
I got first showing Thursday here in Marietta. So I'm really excited. It was funny because we didn't have to first off, our theater didn't do online sales. So we just walked up and bought tickets like a week after they went on sale, and it was no problem.
Oh, sweet.
So, because rural southeastern Ohio, not a big demand, and it's not even like the biggest theater in the area, so it kind of worked out nice. But I'm super excited. There's two or three things that I'm really looking forward to, this fourth quarter this year, and Star Wars is probably number one on that list. Probably number two is Fallout, but Star Wars is number one. So, but speaking of Fallout,
you gotta go.
It's been sitting there so long that my PS4 power save kicked off. So I need to get out of here and play Fallout 4 for the next 24 hours straight since it's Veterans Day, because we're recording this on Tuesday. So I have as soon as I'm done here, it's seriously nothing but Fallout until Thursday when I have to go back to tutoring. So
cool. I'm going to be at my home sitting in the dark looking at this.
Just flip it fast enough, and maybe it'll make you think you're watching a movie.
Oh. Outstanding. Cool. Well, this is a blast, man. It's great to be back.
It is great to be back, and I think this was a pretty good episode. do say so myself. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I think we pulled this one together pretty well.
Oh, so. Yeah, we can toot, baby.
Yeah. So, but definitely check out vorradio.com, because as you noticed, the fourth segment this time, which worked out pretty well because we had lots to talk about, but we didn't have any Republicans this week. So
we want to hear them.
Yeah, we do. We always want to hear them. Ed wants to hear them. I don't want to hear them, but
Mike even less. I know.
Yeah.
Mike hates you. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, Mike doesn't like anyone. He's the worst. Just the worst.
Worst.
But speaking of, hopefully Mike will be back here soon. We just understood that he was busy and we wanted to start getting working on this stuff. So Mike is going to be joining us whenever possible. But till then, go to vorradio.com. You will find contact information for the show, the hosts, our official Facebook group, which is an actual group and not a page. So it's not just us blasting bullshit at you. You can actually come in, post your own stuff, discuss. It's more like an actual message board than your typical social media bullshit. So head on over there, join up. It is a closed group, so you do need to get permission, but we're on top of that. Just ask to join, and as long as you don't look like a spam bot, you are in like Flint.
Yeah, absolutely. All that information again is at www.vorradio.com, and we absolutely would love to hear your feedback. If you're on YouTube, tell us in the comments, especially if you made it this far into the show. But we pay attention, and we have another conversation that's still happening on our EU episode from last year.
Yeah.
So that's still going on. We're here, we're listening, and absolutely wholeheartedly thank you for watching and listening.
Yes. And before we head out here, I do want to show my shirt off here a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Because this is actually by friend, former guest and friend of the show, Kate Davis, actually made this Terrence Bottinger shirt from RoboCop. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but on the back it says "Bitches Leave."
Bitches leave.
So check out Kate Davis's website for shirts like this. I don't think she has any more of these, but she's always putting up some great designs. A lot of it's sort of like. I don't want to say like niche, but it is. It's sort of like 80s.
It's a lot of cult stuff, some horror.
I've seen her do some like Twin Peaks stuff, RoboCop, a lot of like horror and action flicks, like VHS sort of stuff. So check her stuff out. It's always a fun time. And
if you don't know who we're talking about, I believe her website is katedangerously.com, but you can find her as Kate Dangerously.
Yeah.
We did a great B-movie action movie episode with her and our friend Wendy, and absolutely watch these lovely ladies talk about their VHS collections.
Yes,
that's some nerdy shit.
Yeah, so check those out. I'll put a link in the description on the YouTube, and we'll make sure that we get something up on the webpage. But yeah, I wanted to plug that because me and her, we've been talking because the new Mystery Science Theater Kickstarter, which we'll probably talk about next week. Wanted to get all that out there. So thanks, Kate.
All right, cool. Well, let's get the hell out of here so we can do stuff.
Yeah,
awesome, amazing things. All right. Well, great to do a show with you, Carl.
It was great to do a show with you too, Ed.
Yes, quite here. All right. Until next time, may the force
be with
that ass.